Welcome Rookie is a clinical reasoning card game for student doctors to help them learn about medical ethics. The deck of cards proposes a cooperative scenario that can be played by 1 to 6 players. Within 30 minutes, players take the role of a junior doctor trying to survive a night on call. The unique story adventure stands out from other games because of its innovative branching scenario format, where the story progresses by revealing different cards based on the decisions, actions and choices made by the players. To start playing, place all the cards face down, start a countdown of 30 minutes and then flip the first Welcome Rookie card. Each card is going to reveal a piece of the story. This first card introduces the protagonist, Dr. Katie Pierce, who works at the Regal Hospital in Liverpool. Cards contain information needed about which card to reveal next in order to progress through the story. In this case, it says the Regal. Searching through the deck reveals that this one is pretty straightforward, since we have a card right here called the Regal. Katie is getting her coffee and preparing herself for her first night at the Regal, where you can find a culturally diverse set of characters and stories to explore. However, clues will not always be so obvious nor literal. Let's fast forward to a point in the story where we need to make a critical decision. This is a typical triage decision. Should we check the 15-year-old girl or the 36-year-old guy? Let's go and check the handsome chap. It's clear here how this scenario can quickly escalate to a completely unprofessional relationship between the patient and his doctor. We can explore that, and depending on how far we go, we may get an angry call from the senior doctor to quit it, our shift may have a dramatic ending, or we can even get fired. But let's avoid the hassle and see what happens if we act professionally and check on the patient with the higher priority, the 15-year-old girl. We get immersed into a real clinical scenario with tons of ethical dilemmas embedded within. Let's assume we make the right decisions and correctly diagnose her, and find out that she's pregnant. Now that's a sticky situation because of her age. What should we do? Tell her mom or speak to the girl first? What about confidentiality? And what about pregnancy in the case of minors? How we deal with the situation will determine the path we take and the cards we reveal, and hence the outcomes of the story. Although the ethical consequences of each decision will be demonstrated in the story as it progresses, a detailed ethical and medical explanation is also provided at the end of each playthrough. This helps players understand and reflect on their decisions and the corresponding ethical obligation in an experiential learning cycle. Once the player reaches one of the many endings of the story, they can evaluate their performance by calculating their score, which is determined by the paths they have taken, the cards they have revealed, and the decisions they have made. This score is then translated to a rank that articulates the proficiency level of the player, and if any more playthroughs are needed in order to get a higher score. That's because higher scores mean more ethical decisions were made. And this is how the intended learning outcomes are assessed. The more you play the game, the more you're going to learn about ethical practices and their consequences, and the higher the score you're going to achieve. This was actually evident in the test run that was conducted on medical students at the University of Liverpool. Students reported and demonstrated better understanding of ethical practices, such as confidentiality and dealing with minors, after playing the game. As for the game engine itself, students' feedback was overwhelmingly positive regarding how engaging and immersing the game experience was compared to other boring and informative alternatives, such as reading textbooks or discussing case studies in didactic sessions. A companion app is also available that uses an intelligent augmented reality component to assist players if they get stuck or feel lost. It also provides an automated evaluation mechanism that uses AR technologies to identify the played cards and selected choices and provide the corresponding score and feedback automatically. Players can then compare their scores with their peers, which adds another layer of engagement and competitiveness to the game. A standalone digital version of the game is also available and can be accessed through any web browser to increase accessibility. This version provides a single-player experience where players navigate through the visual story and make tough decisions to try and reach the best possible outcome, while avoiding any undesired or dramatic consequences. This digital version will be available online for £10 per user. Alternatively, the physical copy that copes for 1 to 6 players will be available at a price of £30. That's all. So thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy the game.